Welcome everybody. This is Jason and the name of this week's workshop is Sky's the Limit. This is a workshop about building gaming tables and other objects that use self-referencing behaves. And we're going to go ahead and get started. What are self-referencing behaves? They're a bit difficult to explain, but in a nutshell, a self-referencing behave is a behave that uses a special command test object type to refer to itself in the third person. To execute the command, it needs to make reference to one of its own OBJD, but when you create a new standalone object, you replace the original GUID with your own, so the behave can't find the OBJD that it was originally referencing. What types of objects use self-referencing behaves? The list includes, but isn't limited to, poker tables, mahjong tables, family game tables, bathroom stalls and outhouses, and elevators. There are probably a few more, but that was what I could think of off the top of my head. Getting started. To get started, clone any old poker table, or game table, or mahjong table for that matter, as you would any other object. Then we update the GMDC, TXTR, CTSS as you normally would. Commit and save your changes. Okay, so it's at this point it's no different from basic object creation. The OBJD. Select the OBJD in the resource tree and then double click on the instance header to sort from lowest to highest. So in this example, well, bad example because it's a strip poker table and I can't show that on the channel, but it's essentially the same thing. So we just double click the resource header here, or the instance header, and it's going to sort from lowest to highest. Then select the first OBJD in the resource list. Copy the GID value. Okay, so we just copy that. Then notate the position. So this one is 0, 0. Notate the position of that GID and notate the original value. Then we just moved down the resource list. We just copy every single GID value and paste that onto a notepad like so. Then, as you would do with any standalone object, we need to replace all of the GIDs. So now we replace the GIDs and we notate each of the new GIDs that corresponds to the old GIDs so we don't get lost. The behave. Select the behave in the resource tree. Here, because each type of object is different, you have to search each behave individually for the test object type command line. Locate the first test object type command. In this example, it references the GID EF3005BD. Refer to your notes. This command corresponds to the North player's GID. Then we have a look at the opcode. We can see that for the original GID, it ended in BD, but here in the operands, it's starting with BD. So what's going on? As you can see, the way that the data is entered is funky. The 7th and 8th characters go in the first box, followed by the 5th and 6th, then the 3rd and 4th, and finally the 1st and 2nd. Working backwards, we enter the last 2 characters of the GID in the first box, then the 5th and 6th characters, then the 4th and 3rd, and then finally the first 2. We commit, we save, we repeat this with every test object type command inside this behave, and then we double check all of our behaves and make sure that there are no other test object type commands. We commit, we save, and we're ready to test. So it's a lot like building a regular object. It's just there are some extra steps regarding the OBJD and the BHAVs. So let's get started. I've already included in the resource post a poker table OBJ or a poker table object, a poker table texture, and I think that's what I'm going to use. So we click start. Should have done this at the beginning. Sometimes it takes it a bit to load. So we go to hobbies, recreation, and let's just grab the regular old Maxis poker table. We click on next. And I'm just going to call this one Workshop Poker Table. Copy it here. And just paste in the description. And then 250. It's not a very nice table. It's actually kind of scursy. So then we click finish. And here we enter a new scene graph name. We click update. Okay. And let's go to our desktop. And I'm going to give this a 2. So I already have an existing poker table, but I want to do this one from scratch. So we just save it like so. So we go to the GMDC. Actually, I want to replace the one called card table felt because that one is matte. It's not the shiny texture. So just go grungy table 2, the one that's in the resource post. Here we replace, and let's select card table felt because that is the non-reflective texture. Then we go to groups and just delete the other 2 subsets because, or no, I'm sorry. Delete the card table gloss, but keep the accessory card deck because that is essential for the object. Give it a quick preview. Okay. We commit that one. Then we move to the TXTR in the resource tree and the poker table TXTR in the resource list. Right click, build DXT. And we want a DXT3. So we have a little bit of detail in the texture. We build. And we commit. Now we need to look at the object data, the OBJD. So click OBJD in the resource list. And let's double click to sort the instance order so that it's descending. So we've got A, B, and then we've got AF, and then we've got all the B's. And I need to get my trusty notepad. So we just pop open a fresh notepad. And then I'm going to make, sorry, I need a little bit more space than that. Just make a header that says original and one that says new. And we're going to start with 00, 0. And then this one is our master, so I'm just going to put M there. It doesn't really need to reference that, but just to be consistent. Then we've got, this is 10. It's the north player. So I'm just going to make the extra notation that this is north. And let's move everything over so that it's square. Probably easier to do on an Excel document, but it doesn't matter. We're fine. Okay, so we've got north player. Then this one is 2-0. And then this one is it's west player, but it's the coordinate value is 0, 1. And then we move on to this one. This is 1, 1. And then this is east player. Coordinate value is 2, 1. Then we move on to this is 0, 2. So just paste that there. And then this is south player. It's 1, 2. And finally, this is 2, 2. It's not necessary to notate every give position for poker tables or for other game tables, but just so that you get in the habit, because elevators and toilets, the 2-tile toilets, you might need to notate different tiles. So just notate everything. So now, if you have a different system for generating GIDs, that's cool, but me, I like to use a web document. It's basically an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm going to blow that out. I'm just going to give it a few more because I know that for poker tables I need 10. Just like that, and then we go workshop. And we just copy that and paste it down to the next line, 9 lines. Just like that. So we're grabbing from 8F4 to 8FD. And I'm going to go ahead and update all of these first. That's 8F5. That's 8F6. 8F7. That's 8F8. Then the lead tile is 8F9. That's 8F-A. 8F-B. 8F-C. And finally 8FD. Okay, we commit those. Let's give that a quick save. Now we go back to 0, 0. And we'll bounce back over to our notepad. And then here, 0, 0 is going to be F4. And the master is going to be F5. And then north player, let's just double check that. That's F6. And then 2, 0 is F7. Nope, there. Then west player is F8. Then 1, 1 is F9. Then east player is FA. No, that's wrong. We copy that and that. 0, 2 is FB. And then south player is FC. And 2, 2 is FD. And so a lot of you are going to be thinking, why the hell are we doing this? What is the point of this activity? And we're about to find out. So let's have a look at the init behave. And we can see, starting here, starting at line 7, we've got a test object type ends in 4EBD. And that we look at 4EBD, and that corresponds to the north player. So we have to replace this with this. So we go F6. Zero 8 3 0 DF. Okay, then we look down here. This is the test object type ends with F3F. So we go and find F3F, and that's our south player. So that's FC 08 30 DF. Then we'll look for the one that ends in 8F22. 8F22 is east player, so we need to replace it with this. So starting here, we go FA 08 30 DF. Okay, and we have one more. We have a GID ending in 8987. So we find 8987, and that is our west player. So we need to enter that GID here. So we go F8. And then 08. And then 30 and DF. And let's scroll down and make sure that we hit all of the test object types. And it looks like we're good. So we commit the init behave. Now let's look at the main. And I don't see another test object type for main. So I think we're good. And then we've got init no op. And we're good. And then we've got init neighbor tiles. Now this one I know has the test object type. So we'll look at the first one, and we've got ends in 4 EBD. So we know that's north, and we replace it with that. F6 0830 DF. Then we've got the one that ends in 8F3F. We know that's south, and that ends in FC, so we go FC 0830 DF. Then we've got the one that ends in F22. We replace that with FA, so FA 0830 DF. And finally, we've got the one that ends in 8987. 8987 is West player, ends in F8. So F8 0830 DF. And we just double check, make sure all of those skids look good. They look good. We commit, we save. Double check the init behave. The init behave looks good, and I think we're ready to test. Okay, so we got the shot set up finally. We got the poker table object that I just made, and we've got the 4 sims. You can see that they have access to all 4 of the cardinal points. North, east, west, and south.
Yeah, rip Fritnet.
If you don't fix the self-referencing behaves, the issue you would get is the sims would error out when trying to use the poker table. So it's working, and that's pretty much it. That is self-referencing behaves.